As we step into the new year, many South Africans are reflecting on their financial resolutions and setting new goals for this year ahead. Whether it is growing your savings or investments or settling your debt or securing your long-term financial stability, a big part of the wealth creation journey, achieving your goals, will require more than just good intentions. It will require discipline and consistency, as well as commitment to building strong and sustainable financial habits. Esther Oshe, who's the product head at FNB Integrated Advice, will be chatting with her shortly. And she also emphasizes that sustainable financial habits are the bedrock of successful financial planning. Esther, thank you so much for your time. This is a great time for all of us to really look at ourselves and how we are handling our finances, how we did it in the years before, most recently 2024, and what good financial habits we can start to adopt. And I would imagine that the first up is getting the mindset right and getting rid of that debt. Help us navigate this year.
Yeah, no, good morning, and thank you very much for having us and having FNB online. So it is January, and this is a great time to really start reflecting on your finances and what are the things that you're going to do differently going forward. So the question that I'm going to ask your viewers tonight, or this morning, or this afternoon at least, is, you don't go to the gym without having a plan, but we tend to approach our finances without having a plan. So the first thing that I'd like to suggest to the viewers this afternoon is start with having a plan. Sit down this weekend with like a piece of paper and a cup of coffee and say, what are the financial goals that you want to achieve by the end of the year? Is it a case of being debt free? Is it a case of starting to do your long-term investing? Is it your kids' school fees that you want to make sure that that's sustainable going forward as well? That's the first thing, is you need to get into a plan so that you have a smart goal to work towards. And then once you've done that, the next thing that you need to do, of course, is you need to really have a look at your budget. Now, January is probably not the best time to look at your budget, but it is a good time to look at your spending. And that's something that I strongly suggest that the viewers do, is go and have a look at your spending. Go and use the apps that are available to you, things like Track Your Spend, and see where those unconscious spending habits are coming and how you can reduce some of that in order to putting it towards your longer term goals.
Yeah, let's talk about when you, most of the time you have the money, right? But you just don't know whether you are using it wisely, right? So, and sometimes you feel like you don't even have enough to save, or you don't have enough to save towards the goal of saving. For that mindset, how can one start to think differently?
Yeah, so that's a very good question. And I think that's a lot of things that South Africans are struggling with at the moment, is where do I find the money to save and invest? So the first thing is, saving and investing is not only for the rich. That's something that you can start saving with literally 10 Rand a month. Or you can start investing in things like unit trusts by 300 Rand a month. 300 Rand a month, that's a takeout dinner for a family of 4. So it's that sort of thing. So my suggestion to the viewers out there is go and download 3 months worth of bank statements. Literally, red pen, green pen. Red pen, I'm a little bit uncertain about this type of spending. Is that something that I can reduce on? Or green pen, yes, I'm happy with it. The other option is to use things like the apps that are available to you. So like your banking app, the FNB app has also got something called Track Your Spend. Go and see where you've been spending your money over the last couple of months, and if there's a way that you can reduce some of that. So I'm going to use an example here. A coffee on the way to work. Do you buy a coffee on the way to work every morning?
Yeah.
Some of us do. Can you take that down to twice a week?
Yeah.
That's going to free up cash flow. Do you take takeouts 3-4 times a week? Is that a way that you can bring that down to twice a week? And that's going to free up a bit of cash that way.
Yeah. Esther, sometimes when you do free a little bit of cash, you don't consciously move it to, let's say, a dedicated savings account. However, you find yourself, it gets muddled up with the rest of your money. So you end up not seeing that saving that you would have done from the coffee, that you buy every week. And then another important thing before we finish off, I want you to talk through to us regarding a debt review. If you are far gone and you have started the whole process of debt review, there's a big debate about whether it is good or bad to go into debt review.
Okay, so I'm going to talk first of all about that. You've now freed up a little bit of cash. What do? You need to automate it. So Warren Buffett always says is you save and then spend, don't spend and then save. So if you pay it on the 25th of the month or the 30th of the month, and you've identified that you freed up 200 Rand a month or 400 or 500 Rand a month, put in a scheduled transfer or a debit order to put it towards paying off your debt, saving for an emergency, or alternatively your longer term goals like your retirement. Don't say, oh, I'm going to do it at the end of the month, because that's never going to happen. There's always going to be a way that you're going to do it. The important thing is to get that discipline in place. That's save and then spend, don't spend and then save. So that's that. Debt. So let's talk a little bit about the debt. And it is something that's going to be top of mind on the viewers today, specifically with January feeling like it's 70 days long. So let's talk about the options. You now are in a debt position. What do you do? So the first thing that I suggest you do is go and have a look at these tweaks that you and I have spoken about now. Things like looking at freeing up your cash flow. Is there a way that you can put that towards paying off your debt, either via the means of the avalanche or the snowball method? The next thing is speak to your financial services provider. Really chat to your bank or the guy that gave you the, or the person or the financial institution that gave you the lending, to see if there's a way that they can assist you first before you go into this, I almost want to say, nuclear option of debt review. There are places that it is appropriate, but that's an absolute last resort. You don't want to go straight for the silver bullet. And really be cautious when you do get these calls of, we can reduce your debt by 90%, or you're suddenly going to get, you're going to clear your name and everything on debt. Read those T's and C's very, very carefully and understand what you're getting into. Because once you are in debt review, you can't get out of debt review. Rather do those first two things, which is sort of freeing up your cash, speaking to your financial services provider first before you go for this nuclear option.
Esther, it's always great speaking to you, and you give out such useful advice. Thank you so much for your time. I've been speaking to Esther Oshe, who is the product head at FNB Integrated Advice. And with this advice, surely 2025 financially is going to be better.